Have you ever battled a trainer and thought, man, I wish I could just beat you up and steal your Pokemon? Even if it's a little kid? Yeah, me too. This is Pokemon Fire Red Rocket Edition, where if you haven't guessed yet, we play as Team Rocket and do Team Rocket-like things. You know, stealing Pokemon, committing crimes, and it's a great time, really. We're gonna start off joining Team Rocket, being the little grunt we are, and by the end of it, we are going to be bossing everyone around, going through the ranks all the way from grunt to maybe even taking Giovanni's place. We start off with Petrol doing the recruitment process, and in no time, we receive our first Pokemon, Rattata. Gross. From here, I get to know some of the locals and obtain HM Fly, as well as meet someone super nice, Ronnie. He says he's going to teach us all he knows, which, hey, I'm a new guy. I'm itching to steal some Pokemon too. So our first task as a Rocket Grunt is to steal from a little girl. This is like our initiation process. And no joke, we have zero remorse. Ah, the life of crime. You can't put a price on it. We find out we're stationed in Celadon City in the Rocket hideout there, under the casino, and Ronnie takes us to fight this little girl. And after beating her in a battle, I rob her of her cute little Pidgey. Sorry little lady, but I need that more than you. Oddly enough, the first Pokemon we steal just happens to learn the HM we just got. Although it begs the question, how can I use HMs if I have no gym badges? Apparently this guy lost his coin case somewhere and he wants Porygon really bad. But like, 1, we're Team Rocket, and 2, well, we're Team Rocket. Go steal the damn Porygon. Or steal a coin case. That's a great idea. I should take my own advice and not tell him I found it. No offense, lady, but I don't think joining Team Rocket is going to get you rich. Some guy with a Pikachu has defeated us countless times. Maybe not in this universe yet, but he will. I did use the coin case to get some coins in the slot machines, and eventually I'm going to complete that guy's dream of owning a Porygon. For now though, I taught that Pidgey we caught Fly and flew to our first mission in Mount Moon. And this is going to be us helping out with these fossils. While in here we did steal some Pokemon, but it looks like we can't steal from all kids as this girl will be turning 14 next week. Oh boo-hoo, tackle her. Apparently some powerful kid whooped one of our fellow criminals' butt, and Ronnie here doesn't believe it, so he asks if we're scared of some little twerp. Of course I am. It was probably blue and I don't want to mess with that kid. Moving along, beating up more kids and robbing them, we meet Ronnie once more where we find those fossils, and while Blue might be out of the cave now, I'm sure Red is on his merry way to whoop all of our asses. What did I just say? 6 Pokemon? What kind of Red is at level 25 at this point? Of course, in classic Rocket fashion, we did lose this fight. And this just brings our spirit straight to the ground, which is why I'll always resort to a life of crime. Or at least that'll be my excuse. That is until Petrol came to check on the fossils and asked us if I remembered what Red looked like, and I lied and said no. And I think he just punched me in the face. It's kind of unclear. I want my mommy. I don't want to be a criminal. I'm sorry, I'm just new. I'm trying to get used to it. Fine, I'll tell you. From here, the boss wanted to speak to us, so we headed back to base. And he had a bunch to say, like calling Petrol one of his weakest admins, and I quote, "How in the deepest depths of guaranteeing as hell, a pair of preteen twats could beat up an entire squad of full-grown men and run away with the spoils right in front of their goddamn eyes." Don't get a heart attack now, old man. Anyways, we tell him everything we know about Red to, you know, not get slapped again, and he says Red is a ridiculous name. Finally, something we can agree with. What did you say? Nothing, sir. Oh, it looks like Blaine is working with them and says he can't make any more Porygon for us. And of course, Giovanni didn't like that one bit. This in turn will reduce funds and Porygon won't be sold at the game corner for the big dough. And I need that Porygon, so I'll help in any way I can, sir. So with that, we were tasked with going to offer Bill the job of making us Porygons. I agreed to meet up with Ronnie later and headed to Saffron. But of course, this guard is here and he said he'd let me enter the city if I slid him 2 Benjamins. And just like that, I no longer existed to him and went on my merry way. But before heading into Cerulean City, I stopped by the daycare because I heard there was a Team Rocket base here. And it looks like just about everyone is secretly working with Team Rocket. And this is pretty clever. Raise Pokemon for trainers and just steal them like he did with the boys Nidoran. Breed them and then return them back. Here we meet Archer, and we're here to pick up a bunch of goodies to give Bill so that he accepts the job. And then we just cruise through Route 25, stumbling upon these two, who apparently wanted alone time. To do, well, it's not really clear, but you can use your imagination. When we talk to Bill, he turns our offer down, but it looks like he knows the deal, and after being persistent, we give him the goods, and he's not very impressed as it looks like Team Rocket was the one who gave him the SSN ticket, and he'll only do the job on one condition. If we get him a sample of the rarest Pokemon we can find, and he wants his hands on Silph's new innovation, aka the Master Ball. But right before we leave, he hands us a cell phone since he's a little fond of us, and so this is to keep in touch with him. And so we head back, fight Blue on the way, whoop his butt, and meet up with Ronnie and holy mother of Muse, the cops. Imagine this, we're running away from the cops, and boom, I accidentally jump over the ledge on the way to base. If this wasn't a game, I'd be in the back of a squad Tauros right now. Anyways, back at base, everyone is freaking out that the cops are in town. Like, hello, you guys just robbed a man of all his TMs. What do you think would happen? I like how we get live footage of the incident in real time. Apparently Ronnie tried to paddle this little girl because she said some funny looking guy with green hair tried to steal her Pokemon. My man is being flamed on live television. It looks like even Lance is getting involved by starting a new program that's going to put bounties on every single person who steals, robs, or anything of the sort. And it'll increase the more we do it. I'm gonna have 5 stars before I know it. And I love how everyone is blaming Ronnie for robbing the little girl, as she was the daughter of the guy we stole TMs from. Anyways, from there, Archer points us to a new mission. We gotta get some dope to exchange them for some rare Johto Pokemon Lieutenant Surge has on the SSN. I always knew that guy was a crook, and that's why I'm starting to look up to him. And it looks like the things we're smuggling to him are roids. Well, can't say I'm surprised. Oh, hey ma'am. Wait, what are you trying to get into? No, don't lose focus, Gene. You're a criminal. No time for women. Wait a second. Is this just a bunch of escorts down here? You know, one of the cool things about playing the Kanto games is having a fully evolved Pokemon right off the rip. You know, aside from like the early bug types. Anyways, on our way to Lieutenant Surge, I did some more stealing and mugging to get my bounty up to be the best grunt I can possibly be. And hopefully soon, I'll get a promotion. I probably should avoid talking to the cops, as I had to bribe this guy to let me go. And money ain't just growing on trees right now. Pokemon, however, are growing. In trainers' pockets for me to steal. Like this Growlithe I snagged off an old man. Ha, sucker. Soon we met up with Proton to exchange the roids for those rare Pokemon. But Surge couldn't even bring them off the SSN because apparently it was too heavy for him. Bro, you're taking steroids. You're just lazy. Meanwhile, on the ship we spy on Lance and Steven having a conversation about politics. The war between Johto and Kento and such, and how Oak used to be the champion until he surrendered during the war. And a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, the fact that a Rocket Grunt can get this close to a champion is absurd. These guys need better security. I know he could probably beat my butt, but I mean, still. You know who else needs security? The captain, who challenged us to a battle when he saw us trying to get these crates. And it actually came down to the wire with only my Growlithe left, but by the end of it, we won. And since he's an old fart, we get to rob him of a Scyther. And soon after, Proton comes with backup, poison gassing the captain, which explains why he was so sick by the time Red arrives. Speaking of Red, Bill told us he gave him the SSN ticket, so we inform Boss about it, and after he tells us Mr. Fuji is going nuts in Pokemon Tower, messing up our whole operation up there. Apparently we're selling Cubone skulls, which is just cruel. What did you say? Nothing, sir. I think it's a great idea. Oh, and he wants Mr. Fuji, and I quote, thoroughly detained and incapacitated. Jesus, just say you want him dead, bro. Excuse me? Nothing. No, I'll be quiet. I'm gonna shut up. So of course, Giovanni orders us to go take care of things. But before that, I took a little break at the slot machines, and hopefully nobody tells Giovanni about this. But I will have my Porygon soon enough. Sandslash is one of those Pokemon that I just wish was a little bit better because he's just so cool. It's a good thing he has an Alolan form that's good because I feel like he'd just be forgotten in history. And he probably still is. By the way, some of these Pokemon I'm stealing sure do have great abilities. We got a Technician Scyther, Sheer Force Nidoking, and even a Regenerator Slowpoke. 2 of those are hidden abilities. I'm definitely getting a promotion soon. This is so unfair. A Team Rocket Grunt shows up to say hello in some stranger's house, and people start screaming. But Red, who doesn't even say a word, gets welcomed with open arms. I think I'm really starting to have no remorse about doing the things I'm doing as a criminal. I'm really warming up to this job. In the Pokemon Tower, we find Gary, who actually doesn't battle us, but mentions how one of his Pokemon died, the infamous Raticate, who he said died in a battle aboard the SSN against Red. And I swear I saw a TikTok or a short about this like a while back, and I'm assuming this is where that story comes from. You see, Red's a murderer. Come join us, Gary, and together we can beat his sorry ass. Well, he doesn't join us, but at least we scale this tower together as he thinks we're pretty nice for listening to him and all. And from there we beat Cubone's mother and finally meet Mr. Fuji. We battle him and Scyther was doing work on his Marowak until he switched, and the rest of his team wasn't too hard either. After Fuji was incapacitated, as they say, Archer shows up to take care of the rest, and Gary actually thinks Team Rocket isn't all that bad, since we're fighting for something as well. It may not be in the best way, but we still have a goal in the end. Brother, I'm just here for a check. We did run into Oak on our way out, as he asked for Mr. Fuji, but then he noticed our uniform. You used to be a champion. Get back here and fight, you coward. Okay, it looks like we're the coward because Red didn't say a word to us and we didn't do anything to stop him. But we don't have to tell Boss about that. And it looks like he wiped everyone in here, including Ronnie and Giovanni. Of course, this made Boss furious and he went on a tantrum. We told him what we experienced with Mr. Fuji and Oak, and he decides it's time for us to know the truth. He goes on to explain how Kanto was losing the war against Johto, and how they had something Johto didn't. Scientist, and this is when Dr. Fuji went to go catch Mew. But this Pokemon was sweet and cute, and it would never hurt anything on purpose, so you can imagine what they did next with it. That's right, they extracted the DNA to create a new being, a being capable of battle, with no empathy for anything at all. A being named Mew too. What a clever name. We also find out here that Giovanni was the richest man in Kanto and a member of its Elite Four, so he funded the Mewtwo project. With the help of all these scientists, they got to work, but it didn't go well at the start, creating a bunch of Dittos in the process until eventually one broke out and killed a bunch of earlier Dittos. Although it wasn't just a regular Ditto, it was actually something different. It was called the catastrophe. Everyone was starting to lose hope until they had the bright idea to use their DNA aside from Oaks to make this Pokemon. And it worked. Mewtwo was alive, but it had a mind of its own. It didn't want to fight for any cause, especially any human-related affairs. So it rebelled, killed a Dragonite, and went on to Cerulean Cave to live out the rest of his days. From there, Oak surrendered. Johto won the war, and Fuji pledged his allegiance first. Blaine and Bill followed shortly after, and Shigeki, another scientist involved, disappeared completely. And Giovanni refused to pledge his allegiance, and that's how Team Rocket came to be. If he couldn't beat Lance legitimately, then he would do it illegally. Anyways, from here we were tasked by going to talk to Professor Oak, and promoted us to an admin. Finally, the promotion we deserved for risking our neck. Although I'm not sure what makes us different than any other grunt in here. With this new rank, we should be able to steal from teenagers and women now. And you know who's a teenager? Red. That's who. Ronnie decides to tag along with us because, well, I think he's jealous Boss is giving us all the spotlight, and just in case we run into some trouble, I finally finish at the slot machine, getting all 9,999 coins for Porygon. Oh, come on. Well, at least my next 777 was like 30 seconds later, so I headed next door, paid rightfully so for my Porygon, and now I'm thinking why I couldn't just steal one of these. A modest nature too. Nice. Now on the way to see Professor Oak, Nurse Joy wanted me to do her a favor of beating up her boyfriend who she thinks is cheating. Well, you're in luck I stopped by to heal my Pokemon. I'll get right to it, ma'am. And upon entering Viridian, we run into none other than Silver, Giovanni's son. Can't blame him for having a son with Ariana, but I have more important business to attend to. You, sir, I'm going to beat the crap out of you for cheating. Huh, well, turns out he wasn't cheating. He was just watching this old man's jinx, and Nurse Joy probably saw it from the back. Don't worry, good sir. I'll fix this immediately. So I went back to Pewter, told her what happened, and she rewarded me with a red flute? I want nothing to do with the name Red. You can have this back, ma'am. Once we arrive in Pilot Town, the first thing we do is talk to this girl, and she's actually begging me to commit a crime because it would just be so exciting in her boring little old town. Hopefully I can make your wish come true, little girl, with Professor Oak. Well, it was worth a shot. Apparently Oak isn't here right now, but his secret love is Agatha, who just swoops in out of nowhere looking for her man. Her ex-man, for that matter. And she explains to us the same thing everyone's been saying. He's a coward for surrendering to Lance. After Agatha leaves though, Blue's sister starts talking to us about Oak in a good way. And Ronnie ruins everything by spoiling our plans, and his granddaughter obviously doesn't take well to that and fights us. As always, the fight is fairly easy, and we even got to use our special Porygon. But once we're all done with that, Ronnie straight up uses his Raticate and kills her? Ronnie, what did you just do? I'm kind of friends with her brother. Oh, please don't be dead. She's gotta be. Look at her. Oh god, she's alive. Stupid grunts. Now I see why Giovanni's always pissed at the lower ranks. I may be dumb, but I'm not an idiot like this guy. Speaking of which, we walk into Giovanni literally scolding him, and Ronnie the whole time is just taking it as a joke. He literally told you he wanted a pack of wild Arcanine to devour you. There's not a thought in that mind of yours, Ronnie, is there? Luckily, we didn't get too much of the scolding, and we were tasked with yet another mission. Blaine hasn't been responding to any of us, so I gotta hunt him down and see what he's up to. So we rush through Route 15 towards Fuchsia City, and when we arrive, we're immediately scammed by cutting this tree for $1,000. I'm an admin for Arceus' sake. I shouldn't be paying for anything. One interesting thing did come of the city though. We eavesdrop on this fisherman talking to his son about the secrets of the good rod. This is the brother of the guy with the old rod, I think, and maybe the super rod as well. Either way, he straight up tells his son that he puts this on the line so that the fish, well, he didn't get to the next part as he noticed us spying, but bro, what the hell? And with that, we pummel his son into a battle, steal his drugged up Krabby, and father here begs us not to tell his brother. And of course, I say no. Alright, I remember now. It was his younger brother who sent me to spy on him, and now he wants me to spy on his older brother. So I go down to Route 12 immediately, and his brother doesn't even know I'm in his house. So I snoop in his diary, and this brother uses the scent of female Gyarados since it has the most sex appeal. Okay, this one's just weird. Of course, eventually he does notice we're standing in his living room, defeat him in battle, and go back to the youngest brother to tell him. Alright, what's my prize, buddy? A blue flute? What is with all of you? Why, you You guys don't want to know what I did in there. But let's just say I gotta get out of here before the cop notices. From here, I went back to my main mission, so I went surfing, stole some Pokemon from some women in the sea, and arrived to Cinnabar Island in no time. Okay, maybe not. There's guards blocking the Seafoam Islands, which means I just did all of these routes for nothing, as all I had to do was go south of Pallet Town. Darn it. On the bright side, the first Pokemon we ever stole evolved. Speaking of evolution, my Growlithe can't evolve, and I'm sad about it. See, the Pokemarts don't sell to criminals, so we're gonna have to find another way to get a Firestone. I tried lowering my bounty, but they only offer 4 grand less on my bounty for a level 30 Pokemon, so that's not an option. So instead, we're going to rob a Pokemart, specifically in Viridian City, but this guy says I need a bounty of 120,000, and I only have 116,000. So I guess going through Fuchsia wasn't too bad, as I needed to do it anyway. So I head back there, steal from some more little ladies, and back to Viridian I go, where a bunch of us rob this poor lady. And in doing that, we get dibs on the first item. I snag a Firestone and a Waterstone just in case. And we finally have our beautiful Arcanine. From here, we finally head into Cinnabar Mansion, where we find a note from Professor Oak to Blaine explaining how he found out he's working with us and how he's disappointed. Oh, grow up, Oak. And right after that, I find Blaine and he challenges us to a battle. He leads his own Growlithe, and this little bugger was strong, having Flamethrower. Pidgeot almost died, especially after he copped out with a potion, but living at 2 HP and getting a crit on Fly destroyed Growlithe. Of course, Pidgeot will die next turn. That is, if he didn't miss an Inferno and we got another crit with Fly. Jeez, Pidgeot. From there, Nidoking finished Rapidash and Scyther Arcanine. Once that battle's over, he rambles about how he'll take one for the team if Oak rats him out, and how he'll do what he's told from now on. I did evolve Porygon on the way back to HQ, and this was a surprise to me. I thought we would have needed to upgrade to evolve Porygon to Porygon 2. I guess all that time gambling wasn't for nothing. And Slowpoke finally evolved into Slowbro as well. Back at HQ, Giovanni has proposed a new idea. Capturing Mr. Fuji gave us insight that Silph is of course making the Master Ball, and with that powerful ball in our possession, we can capture not only the bird trio, but maybe even Mewtwo. So we plan on raiding Silph and all of Saffron to get our hands on it. And naturally, in order to pull this off, we gotta go and take every scientist hostage in this place. The old president can eat my big black slugma. What does that even mean? Anyways, they tasked me with taking all these scientists down while they lollygag, and after locking 6 of these guys behind these metal doors, Ronnie meets up with us and he's kind of upset seeing us being an admin and leaving him behind. So he wants to show the bosses just how good he is, so he asks if he can bring down the key card to them. That's a terrible idea that no admin would do, but hey, why not? Knock yourself out. You possibly couldn't mess this up, could you, Ronnie? Now, I did find the TM for bulk up, and so this made me switch the team around a lot, as I could teach that to Poliwrath, and since Porygon evolved, I figured Haunter would as well, and it did at level 40. At level 43, Nidoking learned Earth Power, which gets boosted by Sheer Force, and this is how the team is looking now. With everything done on the lower levels, we go ahead and head up, no pun intended, where we find this coward waiting for us. Don't worry though, he doesn't battle. And after that, Bill is here ready to steal the Master Ball for himself. You dirty thief. I know, that's kind of ironic, since I'm a thief, but still. Oh, so you want to fight. Let's go, bro. Now I know Porygon is going to have Discharge, but it's a Porygon, so I just bulked up Brick Break that and Brick Break Dragonair, which doesn't KO, and we send in our own Porygon. From there, a Psybeam finishes off the Dragon Snake, and Pinsir rolls in. This thing has superpowers, so no way Porygon is living, but with its attack lowered, we take a mediocre Thrash, and our Fire Pup flame bursts this thing into hell. But of course, he checks me with a very happy Lapras. Luckily, I still have Poliwrath, and since he just used Safeguard and a potion, a couple Brick Breaks was able to finish it off. We did get chipped with Brick Break on Kangaskhan, and only one of these Titans can come out on top in the end. Mine, of course. From here, I go heal, and I level up since Bill had some strong Pokemon, and with that, we confront Mr. President. He tried to bribe us, which I totally would have taken and stabbed him in the back, but Giovanni interrupted our spoils and congratulates us by promoting us to a Rocket Executive. Woo-wee! We're looking like $1 million. This might give Ronnie a heart attack. As an executive, we get a crowbar? I mean, I could have picked one of these off the street, but thanks, boss. And now I'm assuming we can steal from everyone now, except maybe Red or Elite Four. Speaking of which, on our way out, he comes in without saying a word, and Bill calls us to meet up with him. And now we meet up with all the scientists except for Oak, as this man is going to recreate the Master Ball to catch not Mewtwo, but something else. So he asked us to get an Apricorn in Viridian Forest and ransack a room at HQ to retrieve a chip. But when we get back to HQ, boss ain't too happy, and I can guess why. Red showed up and destroyed every last one of us. Well, not me. Y'all stay safe though. And he's just yelling at everyone. And of course, Ronnie opens his big fat mouth and Giovanni silences him. Alright, Paul Atreides, calm down. And of course, all this happened because Ronnie here dropped that card we gave him. Yeah, I knew it was a bad idea. Oh, no, Giovanni, wait. We don't need to resort to killing anybody. Like you said, he's an imbecile, a moron. You don't need to waste your time on him. Oh, thank Arceus, he just banished him. All right, Prince Zuko, on you go. I'm surprised Giovanni doesn't, fire us. We were the one that gave him the darn thing. Anyways, from here we grab the Poké Chip and head back to Bill's lab. Here, Fuji explains that Mewtwo has a psychic connection to all of these guys since they put their DNA to create it, which is why it ran away, knowing that it would be used for war. And since Shigeki, who I forgot about, knows where this beast we want to capture is, we need to find him. But in order to find him, our only hope is to capture Mewtwo so that he can lead us to Shigeki, since again, there's a special bond between all of them. So I head to Cerulean Cave, seek out Mewtwo, and he indeed can still read all of their minds, as he was literally expecting us. He says he could easily cut my arm off so that I can't throw the Master Ball, but instead he wants a worthy opponent to fight, so we battle him, and although he was level 70, the AI isn't very prone to using Psychic, which is the only attacking move it has. In fact, he only used it once, so after mashing A bunch of times, he went down, and now he's going to tell us who this mysterious Pokemon is that we want to capture. It's actually the one from the catastrophe incident all those years ago, and also tells us Shigeki has been hiding in plain sight this whole time, as this old man from Viridian, you know, the one that teaches youngsters how to catch Pokemon. I literally laughed out loud when he popped up on screen. After this, I went straight to Viridian to confront Shigeki, and he took us into his home and explained that this catastrophe they unleashed, he put to sleep and lied about it until now. He hid it to the right of Cinnabar Island, frozen in plain sight. So he released it from its dormant state, as I was ready to capture this beast, and upon arriving in Cinnabar, everything had already begun glitching out. So you can imagine what this Pokemon actually is. I searched for a very long time, but I just couldn't figure out where to find this thing until I surfed east and then west, back to shore, and that's when I encountered it. Missing? No. I knew it. Such a powerful beast, and all that power to be cooped up in a Master Ball. What a shame. From here, Bill came out ecstatic, Fuji not so much, but then Blue came out after his gym fight with Blaine and said he had seen this Pokemon once before, down in the basement of his grandpa's lab. So you guys can guess where we're headed next. It seems like going down a rabbit hole with this game. Now when I got here, I was confused as the door was closed, but then I remembered I have a crowbar and I have to select it from the bag menu, and voila, we're in. We did have to take down some of his elite employees, but once that was done, we find his secret basement and got some flashbacks to 1985, where he's trying to create the ultimate trainer. On the way, we even had to fight a couple guard robots, which we could actually steal from. Looking at more of these flashbacks, it looks like the trainer that Oak was trying to create to be the very best was actually Red. I mean, it would explain why the guy doesn't speak, and it looks like I'm right. Oak created the perfect trainer, had him raised to be unstoppable, to take down everything he came across, and when he became champion, he'd have the power to do whatever he wanted, which is why Oak stepped down as champion, ending the war. He knew what he was doing all along. He was playing the long game, and quite frankly, it was genius, as he's the legal guardian, so technically, he would become champion again, overseeing all the political duties that Red couldn't. From here, our rocket pager beeped, meaning we had to go to Viridian City, as Red's arrival was imminent, but it looks like we were too late. Red had already crushed everyone at the gym. Giovanni came rushing out with his nice little hat, and you know what that means. Team Rocket is over. After being humiliated once more, he sees no vision for Team Rocket, as he knew Red would become champion in no time and rule all of Kanto. He also has lost all of his dignity, being defeated by a 10-year-old boy, so Giovanni's leaving, and he tells us he's proud of us. From there, Silver chases after him, angry, and Giovanni left us a little something. 10 whole G's. You'd think the boss of Team Rocket would have a little bit more than just 10k in his pocket, but oh well. With Giovanni gone, he gave us the whole company, so now we're the new Giovanni, and he tasked us with ending this once and for all, to go to the Elite Four and defeat Red. And with this new promotion, we can now steal from anyone in the region. The way I run is hilarious. I walk into Viridian City Gym, and unfortunately no one really seems to like me being the boss, so I don't really know what's the point of this promotion. I mean, you got Proton straight up saying I'm not his boss, and he has other plans for Team Rocket. I mean, I have no authority, just the title. Well, I guess I'm not welcome here, so we go to Victory Road where Lance pushes us at the gate. How did Red beat you in such little time? I literally just saw him. Christ, that kid's insane. Lance isn't happy at all that he got beat by a child, so he decided to take his anger out on me, but I'm Team Rocket's boss now. Nothing could beat me. His Gyarados missed a huge Hydro Pump as our Poison Tail did abysmal damage. I did switch in Porygon 2 on a Hydro Pump that I guess would do less than half, and I was right. Next turn, we recover off the damage as he dances, which is dumb, as Hydro Pump is special in this game, and oddly enough, a Discharge didn't KO, and he ended up getting a crit after he healed, meaning Porygon 2 can't finish it off. Now we can see why Red beat him so easily. He straight up D-dances again, letting us KO him with Pidgeot. Aerodactyl is up next, and this is not good. I just sacked the bird, and thankfully he didn't get any Omni Boost from Ancient Power. From there, Poliwrath surfed away until it drowned, and Dragonair was in. I was able to Brick Break twice thanks to Dragon Tail having negative priority, however, it still switched us out even though we KO'd it. I didn't think it worked that way. I thought I'd be able to choose freely who I send out next if it straight up killed me. Anyways, Gengar's Shadow Ball destroys Dragonair, and that wasn't the only thing. 2 destroyed Dragonite because even with an agility up, it still doesn't outspeed Gengar, although it might have had Dragon Tail as well. And we got a crit as well, which was huge. All that was left was Kingdra, and while I did get down to the red, this man still has a full restore. Well, of course he does, he's the champion. A silly rocket like myself doesn't get any cop-outs. A Kingdra was on the field, and all I had left were these two. I sent in Nidoking ready to say goodbye, but he lived on 3 HP from a Hydro Pump. What a legend. With that, an Earth Power got him weak, but still, there's no way Arcanine can win, even with an Intimidate off. And I was correct, as Lance finished us right there. I guess I still got a lot more training to do if I truly want to become boss. But I didn't expect the levels to just jump right off the bat. Second time around at the appropriate level, Porygon 2 was actually able to sweep his entire team based on sheer luck. We got so many paralyses, and with Recover on our side, nothing could kill us. Kingdra died to Discharge, Dragonite died to Discharge, and even Aerodactyl. How the hell did we go from struggling to Porygon demolishing every single Pokemon on his team? At least I know you weren't a waste of coins. Although I could have just stole one a while back, but let's not talk about that. And the best part about fighting Lance is we can straight up just steal his Dragonite from his dirty little paws since he's not champion anymore. Ha! Who's big and bad now? You know, I kind of forgot I had Missing No. Porygon, that was a great fight to end you off on. From here we had to get past a bunch of cops, and you bet we robbed every single one of them. And I made sure to fight every single trainer in Victory Road to steal any good Pokemon there as well, as some of them did have Johto Pokemon. Once we got to the Indigo Plateau, there was a crowd. I guess everyone's shocked how quickly a champion can fall, and look who's here. What, you don't recognize him? I didn't either at first. This is Ronnie. Apparently he's a solo gangster now, and probably still an idiot. Oh wait, it was Blue who defeated Lance? Huh, that's right. Red hasn't shown up yet. That makes more sense. How could I forget about good old Blue? I can't believe he said smell ya later on live television. And it looks like Oak showed up for his grandson. Huh, now you want to be in his life? Give me a break. You just want power. And we gotta stop him fast. Red's probably on his way right now. But Bill and I can't get through the front gate, so he wants me to do what I do best. Be a criminal. But I'm a boss now, so I'll just get somebody else to do it. Hey Ronnie, you want your job back? That's what a good boss does. Order people around. Yes, Bill. I guess that does indeed work. To be fair, Ronnie, I never hated you. You're just a little slow, that's all. I love how we just drag her body to the side. Now, unfortunately, I didn't want to use Missing No, but we have to in order to continue. So sorry, Ampharos. But once she was with us, we head in, and it looks like Red is somehow already in here, so we don't even have to fight any of the Elite Four. We just waltz on in, to everyone in confusion on how this Red defeated them all in mere seconds. And once we get to the champion room, Oak is so proud of his creation, which is ironic as he says to his actual creation, he's disappointed in him. Ouch. That's gotta sting, man. Anyways, we're too late. Red has won and has gone into the Hall of Fame. Reporters were here in seconds, and Professor Oak must be ecstatic about this. He goes on to speak for Red since he doesn't say much, and well, he's a child. And he also says that Red suffers from social disabilities, all part of his plan to act as the champion while not really being it. Everything is going exactly how he wanted. He has the power, he wants to punish all of us criminals, capture all the legendaries, and turn Kento into a mess. He even wants to punish Lance for all he's done. Okay, wait, hold on. That one doesn't sound too bad. I agree with that one, old man. But just before he can get out another word, Blaine and Mr. Fuji stop this whole interviews and expose Red for what he really is. A fake, a fraud, a genetic experiment. Not a human, but a robot? I don't know. But either way, he cheated his way here and it's not right. And with that, Oak grabs Red and shoves him into the Hall of Fame, locking the door behind him, and here comes his right-hand woman, ready to stand by him no matter what. You literally didn't want him, but now that he has power, you defend him? You got some nerve, lady. From here, we're all frozen thanks to her ghost, except us since we do have the Silph Scope, and with that, we easily defeat her in battle. She steps aside, and I'm assuming we just use the crowbar, and there we go, we're in. The jig's up, Oak. Samuel here keeps ranting on about how he's so smart, so cunning, about this little Red, his prized possession, how he's a puppet and that's all he'll ever be, just like me. But you're wrong, Professor. I'm not a puppet. I'm the leader of Team Rocket now, and I'm going to kick your geezer ass into retirement. Or I guess Red's. Now, unfortunately, we don't get healed for this fight, so I don't have Missing No, but I just switched into Dragonite on a wing attack? How the hell did you become champion? Anyways, we got a big Aquatail crit on his most famous Pokemon, and with that, his own Dragonite was on the field. He managed to outdamage us, but we did get some some decent damage on it. Gengar was my next option as I knew a full restore was on its way. Luckily we got a special defense drop with Shadow Ball as well as him just going for Safeguard. Seriously, how are you champion right now? Alakazam didn't live a single Shadow Ball and I just Earthquake Pikachu with Tyranitar. From there Lapras was up, and why did I think Tyranitar would be immune to Future Sight? Is that not how that works? I'm a Rocket member, what do you expect? Now I don't have a Rock type move for Lapras, but my new stolen Heracross did the trick, and as well with Snorlax. And of course in classic Rocket fashion, I stole his precious Charizard without batting an eye. And right before Oak can take out his anger on me for destroying his most beautiful creation, Agatha comes in here trying to win him back, but Oak won't fall for it and says she really is a woman through and through for only wanting him when he's in power. Alright, maybe he's got a point. You should have stuck to your man at his lowest, but I'll let you two keep hashing things out. Whoa, wait, what are you doing? Here's what I think of your fucking honor? Giga, what? Oh god, there's blood this time. Do you need a job, Oak? Because I'm kind of hiring right now at Team Rocket. Holy Arceus! I don't even know if Giovanni would do this. And Bill is gonna be next if he doesn't shut his big mouth up. Finally, we take on the strongest trainer in Kento. I'll show you who Giovanni made boss. Now his Toro took out missing No, and Heracross didn't really last long either, but Tyranitar easily finished that and one-hit KO'd Executor with a crunch. As for Gyarados, I switched in on a Rain Dance, which is pretty bad. Okay, never mind, it's not bad at all. Even a Hyper Beam at +1 didn't KO my Dragonite. And Rain is still up for a big Aqua Tail on his Arcanine. With that, T-Tar was out once again to take care of that, but it was short-lived thanks to his Venusaur. Luckily, I still have two demons who can destroy this thing. Now, Arcanine didn't prevail, but Gengar did thanks to a special defense drop and Sandstorm damage, giving us the right amount of damage to finish it off with a Shadow Ball. Now the question was, can Gengar defeat Jolteon? No, not when he hits a Thunder like it's nothing. Did we just die? Second time around, Toro swaggered T-Tar, and while we did hit ourselves twice in a row, we came through on the third one and decimated that and Egg Tree and almost Water Snake, but with that Intimidate, we just couldn't. On his heel turn, I swapped in Dragonite, who did the same thing as the first battle. From there, Arcanine died to EQ from T-Tar, and this time Arcanine does live the Petal Dance from Venusaur to knock it out with a Flame Burst. Safe to say I won this time, geezer. Soon after, Lance breaks in with the cops and busts Oak, charging in with everything. But Oak isn't going to go down without a fight, and sends Red's Pokemon out to battle to buy him time to use his computer for I'm not sure what. But either way, Missing No breaks out of its Pokeball and starts glitching the whole system, allowing for Red's Pokemon to disappear. And they book both of them and Red. Oh, and us, because, well, you know, we're still part of Team Rocket. I love how they just leave Bill in there with Agatha's dead body. You know, it's funny how Lance takes charge, but technically Blue is the rightful champion since Red is a fraud, which I'm correct as they had a court hearing for Red and determined, well, he wasn't human and had no birth certificate and isn't even a citizen of Kento Johto. So yes, champion title does go to Blue, however, he doesn't want it and he says he doesn't need approval from his grandfather anymore. He's done trying to make him proud. And with that, Lance once again is champion. We've accomplished nothing. Professor Oak did get accused of some stuff like Agatha's death and creating Red among other things, but his lab was empty when they got to it and no eyewitnesses came forth for Agatha's death, so the charges were dismissed. Weird, but whatever. At least he got his Pokemon license revoked as he was banned from battling, and well, he battled, and with that he was banished from Kento. Now as for me, well, I was accused of all the usual Rocket stuff, robbery, assaulting women specifically, and I have a bounty of 237,000. So because of that, I owe the darn region that much money, and I have to serve about 34 years. Giovanni could have at least gave me more than 10 grand. If anything, he probably expected this, which is why he ran away and made us boss. Once a Team Rocket, always a Team Rocket. Well, there you have it. That's my story of being in Team Rocket. I wonder what my sentence would have been if I didn't have that $237,000 bounty on my head. Or maybe it would be the same, but I would just owe $0. With that, we cut to Bill trying to create another battle-ready monster, this time with the help of none other than Professor Elm. These guys never learn. And how did Bill not get charged for something? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Rocket Edition was pretty darn different from a Pokemon game, but in a good way. I like how everything kind of makes sense in this different universe, how Oak is more kind towards Red than his own grandson, and they tie the story well with that as well as other things. Solid 9 for me. I love stealing Pokemon.